Good morning, this is Ajahn John, and today I am going to discuss the essay question printed below. The essay question is: modern lifestyles mean that many parents have little time for their children. Many children suffer because they do not get as much attention from their parents as they did in the past. As I said, the question is printed below. May I also remind you that if you are listening to this on YouTube, you can click on subtitles or transcript and see the printed text. There will be mistakes, but difficult words and phrases I will repeat. So, following my usual strategy, I'm going to try to find one idea and one example which will be the foundation of the essay and will form the major part of paragraph 2. So the first thing you need to do when you see an essay question is to analyze it. Make sure you thoroughly understand the question. You might do this by highlighting important words. So the important words I have highlighted are lifestyles, little time for their children, children suffer. So the first thing we need to do is to find an idea we can use to answer this question. The question is not that easy, actually. It is not obvious how nowadays parents have less time for their children than in the past. But one obvious way, I think, is nowadays we can see many more women working outside the home, which means they will have far less time to give to their children. I think maybe there has not been much change in the situation for men, but with women we can see a substantial change. So I think this should be the main idea we use, and we can also find an example of a woman who works very hard and sees little of her kids. That's going to be paragraph 2, which will be our main paragraph. So let's begin with paragraph 1, the introduction. The purpose of the introduction is to describe the topic. Here the topic is parents giving attention and time to their children. So we need to describe why this is important and how it works. So let's begin. This is a model answer for paragraph 1. From the time children are born until they become adults, they have to learn an enormous amount of knowledge and gain many skills, and their main teachers are likely to be their parents. Certainly in the early years, parents will spend more time with their children than anyone else, and for the children, these adults will be like gods to them. They will learn everything from how to wash themselves to the beginning of fluency in their native tongue. And last sentence in the first paragraph. So any drop in the amount of time children have with their parents could severely affect their development. So let's now move on to paragraph 2, our main paragraph. The model of the family in the past was that the man went out to work while the woman stayed at home looking after the kids, doing the cooking and housework. Nowadays, however, many women work outside the home and are often skilled professionals such as doctors, lawyers and teachers. While the amount of time fathers spend with their children may not have changed much, the amount of time women spend with their kids has changed enormously. I spoke to my nephew Michael who is 10 years old recently. He told me he had not seen his mother for several days because she always got home after he had gone to bed. This meant he would only normally see her at the weekends, when they would spend time together playing games, or she would help him with his homework. On the weekday evenings, it would be his father who would spend time with him, helping him with homework, answering questions, and getting his dinner ready for him. Of course, we cannot know for sure whether the lack of personal time Michael has with his mother causes him to suffer in some way, but it must be true that two parents are better than one. Certainly when I was a kid, I spent a great deal of time with my mother, and I am sure she helped me in many ways. So that's our main second paragraph finished, which is answering the question using our idea of woman working outside the home and giving one example. This is the strategy I recommend for all essays. It is a simple strategy, and if you follow it, you should be able to both answer essay questions quickly and easily, and also get a high grade. Now, paragraph 3, where we have to give an opposite point of view. So for this, maybe we can talk about, because nowadays there are usually two parents working in the home, the children can get the benefit of having more money for their education, for childminders, to go to school earlier, stuff like that. So this is what we're going to talk about in paragraph 3. But paragraph 3 is going to be much shorter than paragraph 2, and we're not going to give an example or go into much detail. So this is the model answer for paragraph 3. On the other hand, the fact that many women are working nowadays, and often in very successful careers, means that there is a lot more money available for the families. They can spend money on hiring private teachers and nannies. They can send their children to expensive private schools, and they can send their children to school earlier than usual, maybe at the age of 3 or 4. This means that the children may benefit in terms of their education and teaching. The greater amount of money available may in many ways compensate for the lack of time mothers spend with their kids. Now, conclusion. Again, as I always recommend, a simple, neutral conclusion, maybe only one sentence. In conclusion, it is certainly true that children spend less time with their mothers than in the past, but it is not totally clear whether this is detrimental to their development. Detrimental to their development. Okay, students, that's the end of that essay. It may seem short, but don't think that you have to write words well in excess of the required amount to get a good grade. In IELTS, you should only write maybe 260 to 270 words. In TOEFL, around 310 to 320. If you write 100 more words, you're not going to get a higher grade. Your assessment will be based on the average quality of everything you have written. So it is better to try to keep close to the required amount, but make the quality higher. And you will do this by focusing on only one idea and one example in the essay, but going into them in more detail, using interesting vocabulary and grammar. This is an English exam. It's not an examination of how well you understand child development. Okay, students, thank you for listening, and students working on assignments, good luck with your next piece of work. Bye-bye.